Welcome to the podcast series, Small Business Survival Conversations. Through our weekly conversations, we hope to provide you with strategies and insights, knowledge and expertise to enlighten you as you work to build and grow your business.
Good morning, small business warriors. Welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Motivation. I'm your host, Anna Steinfest, and I'm so glad you're here to kick off the week with purpose and insight. Today, I want to talk about something that might not feel exciting at first, but trust me, it's essential to your survival and success as a small business owner. That topic is measurement. Yes, measuring your performance, your financials, your sales, your client engagement, and even your personal productivity. Because what you don't track, you can't improve. That's the simple truth. And sometimes not measuring it properly, it can lead to a disaster. So let me start with a story, a lesson from the sea, and why measurement matters. So recently, I read a powerful story which happened in 1707. The British Royal Navy, one of the world's most powerful fleets at the time, suffered a devastating loss. In a heavy fog, Admiral Sir Cloudesley Shovel and his entire fleet miscalculated their position in the Atlantic. There was no battle, no enemy, just a deadly mistake in navigation. They ran around on the Scilly Isles, southwest of England. 4 warships were destroyed and 2,000 lives were lost. Why, you may ask? Because they didn't have accurate measurements. They relied on rough estimations, guesswork, and assumptions. No one knew their true location, and they paid the price for that. So, how this relates to you as a small business owner, you will ask me. Well, I know you're not sailing a ship, but you're navigating uncertain waters, whether that's the economy, changing customer behavior, or your own growth challenges. Here's the thing. If you don't know where you are, how will you know where you're going? You can have the passion. You can work 12 hours days. You can have amazing products. But if you don't measure key areas of your business, how much you're spending, how much you're earning, what's converting and what's not, you're guessing just like the admiral in the fog. You will lose your way. And while it may not cost your lives, it can cost your whole business. So, what you should measure, you may ask me. I'm going to break it down into simple, actionable areas so you can start tracking this week. So, number one, we'll talk about financial performance. You have to measure your performance in the financial world. Your revenue. How much are you making? We call this top line. Expenses. How much are you spending? And of course, your profit margins. And the last but not least, your cash flow. As you know, cash is king. I'm not going to delve in details into this. I will try putting that in another episode. But so under the financial performance, I will repeat, you have to measure revenue, expenses, profit margins, and cash flow. And I want you to ask yourself, are you profitable? Where are your leaks? Are you setting enough aside for taxes or reinvesting into your business? So number two, is your sales performance. I want you to ask yourself, how many leads do you get each month? How many of those turn into customers? What's your average sale per customer? What's your cost to acquire a new customer? If you don't know this, don't worry. You can start tracking it this week. But I just want you to begin with one metric. And number three, customer retention and engagement. So I want you to ask yourself, how often do customers come back? Are they referring others? It's very important because in this case, it means that you already created fans. Are you following up after the sale? Very important stage of the sales process. Sometimes your best growth opportunity is not in getting more customers, but in better serving the ones you already have. So we are currently in a time where margins are very, very tight. Customers are very cautious and competition is fierce. You cannot afford to guess and hope. And that's why I'm doing something new for this podcast. I'll be starting next week and we'll try bringing on successful small business owners for an interview series. These will be people who survived, yes, survived economic downturns, lost contracts, staff shortages, supply chain disruption, and they're still standing. So we will learn from them how they track performance, what helped them pivot, what they measure regularly and what they ignore, and how they stay focused on what matters. Because it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. And the people who thrive, they don't just work hard, they measure smart. So let me share 3 actions for this week. I want you to walk away from this episode with something you can implement right now. So here's your action steps. Number 1, I want you to choose one area to measure. Just pick one metric you've been avoiding. Maybe it's monthly revenue. Maybe it's client conversion rates. Maybe it's your own hours worked versus results. Start tracking it daily or weekly. Number 2, I want you to set a baseline. So you don't need a fancy dashboard. Just open, let's say, a Google Sheet or grab a notebook and a pen. Write down where you are today. This becomes your baseline for improvement. And the third action step, I want you to ask, what would a ship captain do? If you were steering a ship and lives depended on your accuracy, would you rely on a feeling or would you double check the instruments? Your business deserves that same level of attention. So, my final thought today, I just wanted to share a quote from Lord Kelvin, the Irish mathematician and physicist, that says, when you can measure what you're speaking about and express it in numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot express it in numbers, your knowledge is of a meager and unsatisfactory kind. That's a bit harsh, but it is true. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed improves. So don't run your business in a fog. Be the leader who checks the compass, who adjusts the sails, who measures what matters and takes action based on it. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Monday Morning Motivation. I'm Anna Steinfest, And I can't wait to share the powerful stories coming your way in the new interview series. Remember, the most successful business owners aren't the ones who guess right. They're the ones who track, measure, and lead with clarity. Until next time, stay grounded, stay focused, and always know where your numbers are pointing. You've got this.
You've been listening to the Small Business Survival Conversation podcast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode. In the meantime, hook up with us on our Facebook group at Small Business Survival Tools and Tips. Till next time, thank you for listening.